Good morning. How's it going? It's probably not morning. Probably have no idea what time it is when you're actually watching this. But it's Ibanez Roadstar Day. Check this out. There it is. It is a 1985 Ibanez Roadstar II RB885. I believe is the model number on this, because it's not actually a 4-string. It is really a 5-string that somebody converted. They did a terrible job. They put a badass bridge on it, which is nice, except for it's a 1970s badass bridge, and they countersunk it, which I guess is okay because it sounds amazing. I've got it tuned down half step. The reason I purchased this bass is because I needed another bass to match my other Ibanez Roadstars, just to have one half step down for a handful of songs. So I've been searching for one, because I wanted at least another white one to match my other pearl white. I have a pearl white 1986, I have a jet black 1986, and I have a jet black 1985 as well. So now I have a total of 4 of these. And anyway, make a long story short, they sound really good with a particular band I'm playing. We play a lot of rock tunes. It cuts through the drums and the guitar just right, and for that particular band, the instrument and the ebony fingerboard just seem to be voiced right, and like I said, it cuts through a little better, and it gives me my ears something different to tickle my eardrums with when I'm playing that stuff. So we're playing a lot of some Van Halen that my part comes in. Oh, I messed that up. Which is Hot for Teacher. That's my part for Hot for Teacher anyway. And I think we're doing that a half step down now. It's on the list, so it can be either or, half step or standard. It doesn't really matter, but I think we've been doing it at a half step down, so I guess this is what I'll be playing on it. But long story short, I am really enthralled with the sound of this. Only thing I had to do was I had to get in there and change the battery, and I appreciate them keeping the battery compartment, although that's not what's supposed to be there. That's just a chunk of plastic and the battery's sort of floating around in there. It doesn't have the little metal cradle that it's supposed to have, like my other ones have. But maybe Ibanez will help me get a part. I'm trying to get them to help me get some parts for these old Roadstars, if they so have any of them laying about. But anyway, it didn't have any output hardly at all, and it turned out the battery was shot, so I replaced the battery, and kaboom, it's loud. And then the jack seems to be a little funky twunky, and as you can see, somebody put a jack plate on and replaced it with a standard stereo jack, because these are very bad about those tube jacks that usually come installed. They have a tendency to fail, and you can't just get in there and clean them because it's all inside of a tube, so it's really hard to deal with. So you usually just have to replace the whole unit, and in this case they didn't feel like doing that, and they cut some metal. There's also some other sort of fuckery going on the bottom here. I don't know what, I don't know why. I think maybe somebody put a post in there and played it like an upright, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know what they did to this poor thing. But I bought it $225 after shipping, and I plan on restoring this baby to a 5-string, and I have the actual Ibanez bridge that belongs on here to make it as original as it should be. However, I will have to unfuck this bridge area because it's a little messed. I will have to put a piece of wood in there and fill that space up to replace the wood that is now missing. No problem. I got some hardwood. I believe there's a chunk of cherry, a chunk of walnut floating about, and there should be enough of it to do something like that. If not, I'll run up to the mill and see what they got this week. So let's get into it. Does this sound okay? It sounds fine to me. little weird. The nut is pretty screwy, very horribly done. So even if I leave it a 4-string, I got to replace that nut. So step number one is gonna go back to being 5-string. So I might as well cut a new nut, make it 5. As long as I got it, it already needs a new nut because this nut sucks. It's terrible. It's ugly, and it just not right. I can feel it's fighting me playing. It shouldn't be that hard to play, and it's a little high. The nut is a little high, and it's awful, really wonky and horribly cut. And it looks as though taking a wild stab at where this thing may have been. I believe this thing was strung left-handed at one point because it seems to be cut to facilitate either it seems to facilitate being left-handed or right-handed. When I look at where the grooves are and where they've been, this thing's been moved around quite a bit. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think of that. I'd love to know the history of this. This thing, I think, has some stories to tell, but it's going to start telling some new stories for me because like I said, I'm going to restore it to its original beauty that it should be and get some of the fuckery out of here. I've already taken off the Puerto Rico badge that was up here, stuck there with a couple of nails. It was there, and I said, no, we're not having that. And up here on the headstock, there's a little heart with the American flag kind of in there. It's like, is it 9 stars? Yeah, it looks like 9 stars to me. And only 3 red stripes, so I don't know exactly what that means, but that will come off of there as well. Probably right before I drill this post hole back out. So anyway, this is video number 1 in my Ibanez Roadstar series, and my next video on this, I plan to, let me give you a little better angle, that's much better. I will show the other 3 bases that I have. And then at some point, I'll bring all these guys out, all 4 of mine, and I'll do a little interview with my friend Brad, who is the first Roadstar bass that I had my hands on. It was a Roadstar II RB885 5-string. Long story short on that, he had some issues with the neck. I think the jack was a little weird and making noise. The balance pot was wrong. It was kind of like put together a little bit weird, like this one. This is blend and volume, where it should be volume blend, and the blend should go to the right, be bridge, to the left, be neck, and they sometimes are backwards from that, and like I said, the blend is before the volume, which is weird to me. So that's got to get fixed, and like I said, I fixed that on a couple of them that were like that. But his had some problems with the neck. Someone had hit the neck with something that had damaged a fret, so it was almost unplayable in a 2nd or 3rd fret area. On top of that, it had some very bad dings and some chips in the fingerboard in a couple spots. So I ended up converting that neck to a fretless neck after trying to fret an ebony fingerboard, or I should say refret an ebony fingerboard, finding out the frets that I ordered were incorrect, and having to unfret it and risking further damage to the fingerboard. Long story short, I just made that a fretless neck. I own it now. I bought another Roadstar, bought 2 black Roadstar RB885s, the 5-strings. Bought 2 black ones, an 86 and an 85, and the 85 that I bought, I ended up taking that neck off and putting it on Brad's bass. And it took me 4 years to find a neck that was compatible, because the first one didn't quite set right. And neck pockets with the 86 and 85 were just something different about them. They didn't fit together quite right. So I bought one and it wasn't quite right. And then the next one was an 85 like Brad's, and that did work properly. So it was put it right together with no messing with shimming for the most part. And then I took their old neck, and it had been converted fretless after that, and I put it on the 85 body. So all I did was a neck swap on that. So that's my second one that belonged to me was the fretless 5, 86 model like this. So this would be, and I bought a white pearl one in this last fall, which was number 3 for me, fourth one in my possession. And then this will be fifth one, actually the fourth one that belongs to me, fifth one in my possession for repairs and such. So anyway, so that's a little bit about this bass. I'll give you another up close look at it. It definitely needs to be cleaned thoroughly, on top of just going into the, I'm going to call it detransitioning, actually. This was transitioned into a 4-string, and I'm going to detransition it back into the 5-string skinny bass that it was supposed to be. I guess that's something I could probably add on these, is that they are a 4-string neck, and if I were to show you one of my 5-strings, true 5-strings, it is the same neck as the 4-string as far as the neck pocket, but they just squeezed a 5th string in the middle there, and they, what they did on the bridge is they did the same thing. They made it like a 14mm spacing to get all 5 strings to fit. The distance between the E and the G are the same distance as it would be between the G and a B on this same bass. They just, like I said, they kept the 4-string profile pocket, and then on the headstock they just made it longer than the regular Roadstar, which makes it appear skinnier, but that's only because it's really just longer mostly. I guess probably a little skinnier. But there's something special about these basses, and outside of just the fact they have this beautiful ebony fingerboard, and it's just beautiful, and it's bright, and it's shimmery. And I had to put an old set of, what are these? Slinkies. The bass strings that were on it were these ugly, like, I don't know if they're tape wound or someone dipped them in spray paint, or if they're coated or what they're supposed to be, but they were Thuddy Duddy McThumper, sounded like flat wounds that hadn't been cleaned and, you know, maybe been dragged across the floor before they were shipped out or whatever. They were just terrible. They were sounding. So I just took them off because they did the bass no justice. Whereas these, even though they are a used set of strings, from one of my 5-strings, because that's the B string I just threw on the floor, you can hear the brightness of the ebony when I slap this. You can tell I'm not so good at 4-strings. I'm used to having 5 strings there, so I go to hit the A string and it's not in the middle. I'm hitting nothing, because on a bass, usually my A string is there because it's 5, but this 4-string is throwing me off a little. But it does a lot of stuff really cool. Not gonna play that. Anyway, there it is. Roadstar. Pretty cool. 1985. We'll bring the other ones out for this next video. And when I do the conversion process, I'm just gonna videotape the thing and try to cut it, which I've never done. I usually just do videos that I don't edit. And I'm gonna try and learn how to edit videos. You, Mr. Lazy, not wanting to learn how to make videos. Alright. Sorry I gave you the finger. Alright, we'll catch you next time.